Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are unpacking something totally fascinating from Life Shan It's a piece by the guide Zhu Feng called Careful, Weeds Will Grow Wild on Free Land. Let's just jump right in, because this one completely flips how we usually think about rules and freedom right on its head.
Check out this central quote. Careful, weeds will grow wild on free land. Reading that out loud, it kind of sounds like a warning, doesn't it? The whole premise we're looking at today is super contrarian. Think about it. Why on earth would absolute freedom actually be a dangerous trap for the undisciplined? We're so used to chasing freedom as this ultimate, purely positive goal. But this source text pushes us to look at the massive hidden dangers that pop up the second you strip away all external constraints.
Section 1. What is Hundan management?
Okay, let's dive into this. To grasp the danger here, we gotta understand the environment we're actually talking about. What literally happens when a community runs with absolutely zero external rules? The text gives us the operational model of the fourth branch of the second home, and it runs on something called Hundan management. This is a state of complete, unadulterated freedom. I mean, absolutely no management, no rules, no regulations, zero supervision. Under Hundan management, every single person's words, actions, and hobbies, they are all entirely unrestricted. There's nobody hovering over your shoulder, no boss demanding things, no one tracking your daily tasks. It's just absolute, unfiltered freedom.
Section 2. The danger of absolute freedom.
Now, what's really interesting is the core complication that comes with all this freedom. Why is having no rules actually a precarious situation? Let's compare the two models here. Over on the left, we've got traditional society. This is the world you and I live in, right? We rely on constitutions, laws, corporate regulations, religious commandments, the whole 9 yards. And why? Because, as the author points out, without them, the weeds of human nature would just take over. We literally use rigid laws to suppress bad behavior and keep things orderly. But then look at the right side, the second home. It relies entirely on Hundan management. By totally removing those laws, you get this massive fundamental shift in responsibility. The external police force, gone. So the regulation must now come 100% from within.
Unrestricted freedom basically acts as a giant magnifying glass. The text presents this brilliant paradox. Total freedom is actually the only way to reveal true heavenly qualities and absolute genius. It lets people fully showcase their unique talents without being boxed in. But, and this is a big but, it simultaneously allows the absolute deepest, darkest human flaws to sprout right up alongside them. It's like incredibly fertile soil. The soil doesn't judge the seeds, right? So without the pesticide of external rules, whatever is truly inside a person is going to grow rapidly. It could be a beautiful flower, or it could be a highly destructive weed.
Section 3. Tending the Inner Garden. And this brilliantly illustrates the extended metaphor used in the text, the inner garden of the spirit. Since the outside world isn't going to weed your garden for you anymore, how do you handle it yourself? Well, in this highly free environment, the text tells us exactly what to watch out for. On the left side, we have the weeds. These are the flaws that'll just naturally sprout if you're not paying attention. Laziness, selfishness, greed, and stubbornness, which the text brilliantly refers to as clinging to the self. I mean, if no one is forcing you to work, laziness can take you down fast. Then, on the right, we have the flowers. These are the virtues you have to actively, intentionally cultivate in your inner garden of the spirit. Truth, goodness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity. Under Hundan management, the job of pulling those weeds and watering those flowers is entirely on your shoulders.
Because the responsibility is just so immense, the text uses this really striking imagery. It says you've got to be as cautious as if you're walking on thin ice, or balancing like a tightrope. You have to maintain this intense, cautious vigilance at all times. The crazy thing is, the more freedom you're given, the more strictly you actually have to demand excellence from yourself. You have to constantly be on guard against overstepping your bounds. If you just do whatever you want without any inner discipline, you're basically proving that you are unfit for a highly free environment.
Section 4. The ultimate spiritual test.
Let's see how all this builds together, because it really begs the question, why put people through this in the first place? What's the profound spiritual purpose behind this extreme lack of rules? Well, the guide clarifies that this environment isn't just some social experiment. It's a necessary path and a literal test for heaven. And why is that? Because heaven itself is a realm of absolute freedom. Think about it. You can't enter heaven if you still need external laws, punishments, and managers keeping you in line. Heaven relies entirely on the self-regulation of your inner spirit. So experiencing and mastering Hundan management here is the crucial proving ground. You've got to prove you can handle absolute freedom before you can inhabit it eternally.
And make no mistake, the source text is super clear about the severe consequences of failing this test. It gives us these vivid cautionary tales. You've got the tragic loss of the Garden of Eden, you've got Pigzi or Zhu Baqie being banished down to the mortal world, and Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, getting trapped under the Five Elements Mountain. All these stories represent the exact same truth. Overstepping your bounds in a realm of high freedom results in a really harsh fall. If you fail to regulate your inner garden in heaven, you don't just stay there. You get downgraded and banished right back to the restricted mortal world.
So practically speaking, how do we actually pass this test? The text provides a mathematical golden rule for living in the second home, and it's represented by this greater than symbol. It's simple but profound. Your daily contributions to the collective absolutely must be strictly greater than what you take or enjoy from it. You can never ever let yourself develop the mindset of wanting to just kick back and enjoy the fruits of the community without putting in the hard work. You've got to blend your individuality with the community, pursue absolute excellence in whatever task you take on, and just ensure your output is always exceeding your input.
To sum up this whole profound concept, under Hundun management, sure, there are no human managers. But you are definitely not unobserved. The greatest creator watches closely. Actually, it's fascinating. The highest form of management, which is zero external management, actually demands the absolute strictest internal discipline. Every single detail of our behavior is in the vision of the greatest creator. So to avoid corruption, spiritual deviation, and harsh punishment, we have to strictly follow the guide's roadmap. We pursue absolute excellence in everything we do, not because some boss is forcing us to, but because our very spiritual survival depends on it.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, and I want to leave you with a powerful, provocative question to chew on. If all rules vanish tomorrow, what would grow in your inner garden? Without laws, without bosses, without that societal pressure to just be good, would your inner garden sprout the beautiful flowers of truth, goodness, and beauty? Or would those weeds of laziness, greed, and clinging to the self just grow completely wild? It really is the ultimate test of who we truly are. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to reflect deeply on your own inner garden today.